Welcome everyone to episode 76 of the Missing Pieces podcast. If this is your first time watching or listening, as this is available everywhere that podcasts are available, my name's Greg, and this is still the place where I sit down and discuss my life, Lego, and anything else that's on my mind each week. This week's episode is going to start off with some gratitude, but also an apology. So let's start off with some thank yous that I have to give out to everyone that left me a positive comment on last week's episode. I know it's going to sound cheesy, but you know, like when football players get pumped up for a game, they listen to their favorite song and they're getting just amped. That's how I feel Saturday mornings when I sit down and I go through all the comments to bring up listener feedback and get things to discuss in this week's episode. I look at all that positivity and it just brings me so much power in times when I sometimes feel like I have nothing to talk about or no one wants to hear it. I look at those comments just like, yes. So thank you guys for that. I also want to give a thank you to our newest patrons that joined us this last week. I want to thank Shane, Imperial Bricks, Max, and Hudson. Thank you guys so much for your support. I really appreciate that. If you'd like to join us on Patreon for exclusive access to live streams, videos, and just all the behind the scenes stuff, the link is down below, and it's a huge help towards supporting not only our family, but also this podcast. So thank you guys for that. Now, we move into the apology section of this episode, and I want to give you guys a massive apology for the audio in last week's episode. I was so heartbroken when I went back to edit the video and I saw about 26 minutes into a 38-minute episode, the audio got all crackly and I was just like, no! Of all the things to get ruined, my podcast cannot be that, because this is my favorite thing that I do, and I was heartbroken. I was so devastated, and I thought about just chopping it at that mark and being like, well, there's the end of the podcast. But there were so many positive things and good things that came out of that last part, because that's the listener feedback part, and I love talking to you guys and giving advice and all that stuff. And I was just gutted with that, but I let it out there, and it just sucked. Many of you know that I recently got a new gaming PC, and I'm running this whole operation through that now. And I don't know what caused that, but there was a situation similar to that happened maybe like, I think a couple days before. It happened when I was doing a video game stream. And all I had to do was just restart Streamlabs, and it was fixed. In this case, I don't know what's causing it, but I bought a new cable for it. And it's sporadic. Like it happened to me yesterday during a gaming stream as well. Of course, using Streamlabs as well. Should I start this over again? But last night I did a 2-hour Patreon stream using the setup that I have right now in OBS, and everything was good. So I just don't know what's causing it, and I just pray that it's not happening right now or any point in the future of what we're discussing today. I will say I have my iPhone here. I thought about this after it happened. I thought maybe I should have like a secondary recording going. So that's what I have here. So if this audio gets busted, at least I have like a clean backup, even though it's not going to sound as good as what I have in this setup. At least it's something. And it's got me thinking maybe I should invest a little more into this setup, even though I shouldn't have to. Like with my Mac, I never had this problem. It never happened once. And now this past like 10 days or so, it's happened maybe 3 times, which is 3 times too many. But I do want to thank everyone that made it through that episode. If you were able to listen to the end of it, it was kind of like just scratchy and stuff, but everything else works fine. And yeah, I was bummed about it, but you know, we got to move forward and we'll figure out ways to make this better. Maybe I should get like a handheld recorder and just like record like this. That would also be helpful if we go out and about and I'm recording while I'm walking or riding a bike, or this series that I want to start with Clark Man once he goes to school called The Ride Home, a new podcast where Clark and I just talk about whatever as we're driving, because we're there anyway. He could talk about his day, or we could just chat. So there might be more podcasting things coming. I probably, in terms of podcasts and the number of views or listens or whatever that we get on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and stuff, I probably have one of the cheapest setups that you'll find out there, but it serves my purpose. I just don't want it to be staticky, so I'll leave it at that. That's all the tech talk we'll have until we get to listener feedback today. But I do want to talk about this week. If you've been watching Brickitect, it's been a quiet week here. I think I've only recorded, as of this moment right now, I only have 3 videos out this week. plus missing pieces, but we'll be doing a mail time as well today. That isn't to say I haven't been making videos. I have like 3 videos that I have recorded, maybe 4, but I just haven't had the time to edit them. Greg's World has been taking a considerable amount of my time lately because I've been recording so much there, and when you're making 5 videos a week, daily vlogging, and the videos are like 20 plus minutes long, it takes an incredible amount of time to go through that footage, to edit that up, to watch it back, to export it, to upload it. All of that takes a lot of time. And for right now, at this moment in my life, at least for the next 2 weeks, that is my #1 priority. That isn't to say, though, it's going to stay that way, because once Clarkman goes to school, and I think I discussed this a little bit maybe last week, I forget where I talk about things. I have Patreon conversations, we talk on Discord, I've got this. I worry that sometimes I say the same thing like at the same place, but who knows? If you didn't, maybe this is your first time being here, so I'm not going to worry too much about repeating myself. But Clarkman is in fact going to school the very beginning of April, right after Easter break, and that becomes my time to have the brickitect renaissance, which was anticipated to happen in September of this year when Clark went to school, but we all know how that turned out, and I'm so happy it turned out that way, because this year it's been a gift. Having this time with Clark and the adventures that we've had and the memories that we've made has been amazing, and the one like positive thing that's come from COVID. So he's going to school. I'm going full time into organizing, getting my place like immaculate here, and then also just really cranking out brickitect content, because that's really what I feel called to do. I have all kinds of plans for series that I want to do, and I think this channel is just going to be like, it's just going to blow up. Not that I really care about it blowing up. I just want to make content that I am really passionate about and I'm proud of, and I see that on the horizon, and I'm stoked about it, to have that time to really put into this and make some amazing stuff. And I hope you are too. If you're here, I'm sure you're probably excited. I was talking earlier, this is going to kind of segue into my next thing here. I was talking earlier about uploading and the time it takes, and including this podcast. I used to record these episodes Sunday morning. I would love starting my Sunday morning off, coming down here and doing this, and I still do, honestly. But when I was doing these on Sunday, it would take a lot of time for me to export these videos just off of iMovie, which is what I use to edit. I'm a simple man. And just exporting it would take a long time, and then uploading it would take a long time as well. So if I started these episodes even at like 9 o'clock in the morning or 10 o'clock or whatever, it would be maybe like noon by the time it's exported and all done. And then uploading took forever. And sometimes these episodes wouldn't come out until like 5 p.m. Eastern on Sunday, which I really didn't like, because I want this to be like a companion piece for like your Sunday afternoon, ideally. So I moved these to Saturday morning, and it makes life a lot easier. So right now it's Saturday for me. It's Sunday for you. But I can get everything done on Saturday, so on Sunday it's just like, boom, there it is. Noon Eastern, Sunday. Missing Pieces is out. But I slow it down, Greg. It's okay. We don't have to... I get excited. I'm sorry. I made a move this week with Comcast, or Xfinity, who provides our internet, that made my life so much better. I noticed like our bill had been creeping up, and I was like, this seems like a lot for what I'm getting. So we have internet and we have cable television. I don't really watch any TV, but Mrs. Brickitect does. She watches the news channels and other stuff on there. YouTube is my life. If I only had YouTube, I'd be totally fine. That's where I find content that I love and I enjoy. But nonetheless, canceling television wasn't an option. So I called just to see what my options were. I said, here's the deal. We use the internet heavily, especially for me. I said, like, I do a lot of live streaming, I do gaming, I upload multiple videos every single day. Like, this is super important to have the best internet that I can have. We don't watch a whole lot of TV, but we watch some. So what can I do to make this work? And the guy that I talked to was super helpful. I know Comcast has the worst reputation for customer service. I've only ever had fantastic customer service when I've called there, and this guy was no exception. Like, he heard what I was saying. He found a plan that worked for me, and even though I'm not saving any money, for $3 extra over what I was paying, he cut back the cable plan slightly to like 100 and some odd channels versus 200 and some that we watch probably like 5. And he boosted our internet from 300 megabits per second download speed. And I know these numbers aren't going to mean much to some of you. Some of you, they will. He boosted that from 300 to 1 gig. So basically 300 to 1,000, let's say. And then our upload speed, which is the most important thing for me, because upload is getting content to you guys, that went from 10 megabits per second to 35. So all this to say, my internet speed is now 3 times what it used to be. And uploading videos is like a breeze now. Like a 25-minute Greg's World video it's like 16 minutes to upload. And it's come so far, because when our first house, we lived up in the woods, basically in a cabin, and I had DSL there, which ran over internet or telephone lines, and I would have to upload just a small YouTube video. It would take me overnight to upload it. It was like 1 megabit per second download. Now we're at like 1,000, so you can figure in just how much faster that is. But you know, I always say like mo money, mo problems, and I had to upgrade our modem because of this, because our old modem was only rated to 300 megabits per second. So I got a new one, and it was just like instantly like. So our download, I haven't seen anything near that. Like I've seen like 400, but again, I'm not concerned about that. It's the upload, and the upload is blazing. So I can't wait to upload this, because I did this Sunday night of last week. I can't wait to upload this episode, because it's usually like a 9 gigabyte file just in 1080p, which is big. I can't wait to see how long this takes to upload. I think it's going to be a lot quicker than the 3 hours that it used to take. So it's the little things in life, guys, that sometimes get me excited. But I was excited about that. Another thing I was excited about this week was spring is finally springing here in Pennsylvania. Speaking of spring, I need to get this in the episode here, because if you're sitting just listening to this or watching it, and maybe you're bored, I'm doing a mock contest for March on our subreddit, which is r/brickitect, where all you have to do is build a spring mock, take a photo of it, submit it, and I might be awarding you, assuming you get the most upvotes, I'll be giving you the Lego Roses set, which is apparently sold out on Lego's website. So if that's something that you would be interested in, and you got nothing else to do, go ahead and start building right now. Go ahead. I'll wait. I'm kidding. But if that's something you want to do, I like to throw that out there, because maybe you could use this time for something. Maybe you are using this time for something. I hear from people, that's in my head, that is, mostly voices, that you guys do a lot of stuff while you're listening to these. Maybe you're at work. Maybe you're driving to work. Maybe you're at school. Maybe you're supposed to be listening in school. Maybe you're just chilling in your room. Maybe you're cleaning up. I always like to hear your story. If you'd like to share that, there wasn't a whole lot of feedback this week, and I need to encourage you guys more to give feedback, I suppose. Maybe you're just chilling and listening. What are you doing while you're listening to this? What are you up to? I'm curious. But yeah, spring is sprung. We've had snow outside on the ground. This is the first time in my entire life that I've seen this, but we've had snow on the ground outside since before Christmas. And it's still out there right now. And we've had some days this week that have been like really cold, but in the world of Pennsylvania, one day it'll be like below freezing. The next day it's 66 degrees, and we had a few days like that this week, and it was just awesome. I took Clark to the park. There was kids there. He got to interact with those. His BFF showed up, Lexi, which was wild. It was just a coincidence. They got to play. The snow's melting off. The warmth. The days are getting longer. We spring forward today when you're listening to this. And that's going to be so nice when the days are longer. It feels like, it's like 7 o'clock and it's still light out. It just brings me so much happiness to my soul. And I think that's like a part of why I was feeling down and burnt out before, was just like these winter days and every day feeling the same, and darkness and clouds and snow. And now I feel like I'm coming out of that, and I have so much to be hopeful for and like looking forward to, and I'm excited. And I think you could probably tell just from the tone of these episodes, like I can hear it in myself that I'm just feeling it right now. And I couldn't be happier about that. So that makes me really glad. And maybe you're like me, where you were at the end of a really long winter with this whole COVID thing happening and not feeling like great about stuff. And now it feels like things are kind of like are breaking a little bit, right? Maybe you're there too, and I'm happy for you if you are. Speaking of breaking things, my weight recently been breaking the scale. I've been really creeping up. As you know, if you've been watching Greg's World Vlogs, we've been really going crazy. Like, we do fast food Fridays. My life goal is to become a fast food reviewer and also a Lego YouTuber, which I have one of those things checked off. But it's gotten a little out of hand. We've been treating it like an experience, and I look at things like taking Clarkman there. I know we're not going to have many of these days where we can just go out on a Friday afternoon and have lunch together. So we've been doing that, and I've been paying. The scale has been creeping up. So this week I decided that I was going to make a change. We're not doing that anymore. I've been really watching what I eat, the calorie intake. I've been drinking V8 for breakfast, which I actually really like. It's only 45 calories for an 8-ounce glass. It's like a vegetable juice if you don't have that where you live. For lunch, I'm having a salad, like a chef salad, which I love. I make pickled eggs myself, and I put those on there and beets, and it's just like, oh, it's so good. And then for dinner, we're having like a responsible dinner, which we always have. I know when you guys watch my videos, you probably think like, dang, Greg, you are like the worst eater ever. But we always, for dinner, we always have like a nice home-cooked dinner, except for Friday nights we eat out. Every other night of the week, it's like a meat, we have vegetable, and like, potatoes or, whatever. It's just like typical. Wild rice with fish. I don't know. It's that stuff. I think this is a good point just in general. Try not to judge someone by what you see in a 10-minute video of their day, because that's not the full picture. Like, you might think, oh my God, I watch 5 videos a week and this guy goes to McDonald's or wherever, like one of those days, he's eating 20% of his diet is fast food. It's not the case, bro. But, it is one of those things you have to be cautious of. And I know that people are sometimes inspired by the things we do, things I say. If I can inspire you to buy a Lego set, maybe I can inspire you to actually like improve your life through what I'm doing. And I shouldn't be promoting unhealthy lifestyles, because I should be the person that I would want you guys to be, and that's not it. So I've made a commitment this week that I was going to really like start watching these things, because the things that we track get managed, right? So I've been managing this, and I've seen results already on the scale. I've got a long way to go. My fighting weight is 159.9. I know that seems probably low to some of you guys, but I'm only 5'10". I'm actually a pretty skinny guy, but it's been packing on. So I'm like 179 right now. So I've got like 19 pounds to lose. And I was thinking, I want to start documenting this. I don't know if Greg's World is the place for it, because I don't think people there they don't really care about my weight loss journey. But I was talking on Discord this morning, and a few of us are kind of like in the zone, and we're really trying to do this. And I'm thinking I'm going to share this with my patrons. I feel like that's the place I want to do it, because the people there are the most supportive people that I've ever met in my life. Not just with me, supportive with everyone. I look at somebody that posts something on our Patreon Discord, so much love goes towards that person. And if I would just say, like, if somebody needs a boost in their life, it's a great place to be. Not saying you have to join or whatever, but I really love it there, and I check it all the time. In fact, we're having this little conversation was happening right before I started recording this, and I said about another gentleman there was talking about how he's kind of getting on track to improve his weight, and I said, you know what? Why don't we do this together? I'll start sharing some of this. We'll be out in the trail. I'll be out there with my voice recorder talking about stuff or whatever. Maybe we'll just be live streaming with my phone. And I'm going to start making some progress. We'll start showing the scale. You got to hold yourself accountable. And I find that when you put yourself out there to the world and you're going to be accountable, you start to make the moves. And I also treat this very much like I tell you guys all the time. This has been my rule of success. Consistency, number one. And number two is just small steps. You lose 0.1 pound today and you start doing that every day. That starts adding up a lot over the days, the weeks, the months. It starts adding up. It may not seem like a lot. You just got to stay focused. Don't let the numbers get to you. And I'm really looking forward to doing this, because we are going on vacations this summer, and I want to feel good about myself. I want to feel like I can take my shirt off and not be a tub of lard or whatever. So. And I know some of you guys are like, Greg, seriously? But yeah, I mean, I hide it with my shirt, but we'll get there. When Clark goes to school too, that's gonna be another thing. I'll have some time on my hands that not only am I gonna be getting super organized, I can spend some time really getting committed to maybe hitting the weights and the treadmill and all that stuff, and even going outside, taking Boo Bear with me. There's a lot to look forward to here. Not to say I couldn't do any of that now. I'm just like I'm in the zone, and I have like these big goals. And I'll be talking about them here. Maybe I can encourage you guys too. There's got to be somebody out there. One person. I don't care. I would be happy. I would be thrilled if literally I started doing this and one person's like, you know what, Greg? I'm doing it too. Let's do it. And it would probably make me tear up a little bit, which it is just even thinking about it. So that's happening. Also this week, speaking of encouragement, I've been streaming on Twitch, playing games there. My one game that I really love to play that I shouldn't love to play because I'm a glutton for punishment is Warzone. And I've been playing that, and the game is brutal. There's all kinds of little sweaties on there that are just like so dang good at the game, and me coming into it now, it's like a death sentence. But I'm trying to learn and get better. And one exciting thing that happened this week was one of my good friends from back in the day, maybe he's listening to this right now, GTG, I don't know if any of you guys remember him, probably from like 2018, 2019, we were buddies. He was just a little kid back then, and now he's getting to be a grown-up kid. And he messaged me and he said, "Hey, I've been watching your streams and I was wondering if you wanted to play sometime. I get out of school early each day." He's in California, so he ends at 10 o'clock his time, which is 1 o'clock our time. And I said, "Well, Clark is off from school Friday, so if you want to play that day, that'd be great." So we did, and it was so much fun catching up with him and talking to him, and him giving me tips and stuff, even though I played poorly. It was really great. And it really made me start to think about how I do such a poor job of really following up with friends and like maintaining friendships. I've never really been good at that. And it's always like the other person that reaches out to me and I'm like, "Oh yeah, like let's do something." I need to be more proactive and be like, "Hey buddy, it's been a while since we spoke or hung out or whatever. Do you want to do something?" I need to be on top of that. Because I get so focused on my work and the things I'm doing and making videos and stuff that sometimes I put those personal relationships on the back burner. And when you do that, just like when you stop thinking about your goals or your weight loss or whatever, then tragedy starts sinking in and bad things happen, like people fall off and your weight falls up and stuff like that. So a lot of it is just coming down to like thinking. Make sure you actively think about these things that you're trying to do, and always have it in the back of your mind, like, "Oh yeah, I need to do this," because a friendship is not easy to build, and it's very easy to kind of just let slide. So just like your weight. It's all a full circle here, but that's just something I had in my mind, and playing with GTG, it really reminded me of that, and I was super thankful to be able to catch up with him. Also on Twitch, it's been so awesome playing over there. I used to stream on YouTube, and the chat was just abysmal. It was just like a lot of little kids, and it wasn't like the engagement I was necessarily looking for, especially in that realm, I guess. So moving to Twitch, it's mostly just been like my patron people have come over and they've subscribed and stuff, and it's been super encouraging there. These guys, even though I play terribly, like I said earlier about the support there, like they'll encourage me, like, "Greg, you're definitely improving," and I'm like, "Are you sure?" But it's nice to have a couple people that have your back, even though it's not like the masses like I would see on YouTube. To have 10 people there or something like that that are watching you play horribly, and they're like, "Hey Greg, you got this." I'm just like, wow. I do got this. Sometimes it's good to have some people in your corner, and I was super thankful of that. While we're on the topic of gaming, Clark and I did something this week that I've been meaning to do forever. I guess this is gamer tech news. We got out this fight stick that I had. If you don't know what that is, it's basically like you would go into an arcade and you would see like a stand-up arcade machine, and it's got a bunch of like circular buttons on the right side and like a joystick on the left, like a big one that you'd put your hand on. So if you're watching this, you can see how I'm controlling it, but it's like a massive controller, I guess. I don't know how to describe it. But we've had this thing. I bought it back in September when I did some research on this and kind of got into that. And I fall into this trap sometimes of I don't actually do anything unless I'm making a video on it, because I'm like, "Oh, that'd be great for a video." And sometimes when things start piling up, stuff gets pushed to the back burner, which happens a lot in my Lego space, because you want to make that video. And I'm learning now that like, not everything has to be a video. You can just get into it and like make moves. In this case, I did make a video on it, but it was 6 months later where we got this thing out and we hooked up the PlayStation 4, and Clark and I played Street Fighter the other day, and we're actually going to do a little bit of that here this morning after this episode on our Twitch channel. And it was so much fun. It felt like being in an arcade, and I really love that experience. I know there's a lot of games that you can use this fight stick for. It's not just a fight stick, it's like an arcade controller. And there's a lot of games on the Switch, there's games PS4, and I'm pumped about that. In addition to that, last night I found a deal. I don't know how this came up, but for $99, it was this 2-player one that I think is made by @Games, and it has a whole ton of games preloaded on it. You just plug it into your TV or your computer, and you can play stuff on there. So I plan to stream some of that too if I can. And it was, I think, usually $229, marked down to $99. So I was like, cha-ching, bought that. So we're going to be doing some arcade gaming. It was so cool yesterday, too, when I was playing with GTG. Speaking of arcades, I was playing over here on the TV, and Clark was playing on the projector playing Minecraft. And it felt like we had like a legit arcade down here where multiple games were happening. And I thought about that being like a really cool or really awesome goal of mine, like that. Not only have like a Lego studio, to have a movie theater, which I've kind of done. Brickitect is done. I need to do the video for you guys. That was supposed to be yesterday, but priorities, I guess. Playing with GTG took a lot of time during the day, but I wouldn't trade that. I wouldn't trade that to make a video of Brickitect so you guys could watch that on Brickitect, because it's catching up with him meant a lot to me. But to have all that and then to also have an arcade down here, I thought about getting a stand-up arcade unit, but then that's like a commitment because that's like space. That's like a thing you have to sit somewhere and it has to be there forever or whatnot. So this is kind of like middle of the road, but we can still have that arcade experience. And I love, so much of my life revolves around nostalgia, as you probably know if you've been around this channel for a while. And being that you can't go to a legit arcade, at least in our area, this kind of takes me back, and I'm able to share that experience with Clarkman. So it checks off all the boxes on my list: nostalgia and giving my son an experience that I once enjoyed and doing it together. Big check mark there. That's what drives me. That's what this channel is about. And from the feedback that I got, that I thanked you guys on from last week, that's why a lot of you were here, and I'm like super thankful for that. So a lot of that has been happening. Also, I guess if we're talking about nostalgia, this would be a great segue into the world of Lego. We're going to talk about Lego here for a bit. I bought some things this week, starting with, and you probably saw this because it was one of the few videos I put out, the Carnage head. I almost called it a helmet because I'm so used to these being helmets, but the Carnage head, polarizing set. Some of you guys hate it, some of you love it. I love it. I pre-ordered it from Target. Got that coming in April. I'm excited to get into that and to build it. I love having display pieces. I love creepy Lego. I feel like it kind of falls into both of those a little bit. I mentioned in that video that Carnage has a place in my heart because of nostalgia that I had as a kid on a Sega Genesis game that I had called Maximum Carnage, and some action figures and figurines that I collected of him. And I'm stoked that they made that. I would love to see Lego do more of these. Like if you wanted to like make a whole line of these heads or busts or whatever you want to call them, I'm in. I saw there's also a Venom too. I'm not as excited about Venom. I feel like Carnage has more like character than Venom has. So we'll see if I snag that. But I was happy to score that. I also got the Hidden Side Graveyard this week. It came out to 40% off on Amazon. I posted the link on my community page or community tab here on YouTube. And from the Amazon Analytics, 18 people decided they were going to buy it through my link, which is super helpful because I think that made me like, it wasn't much. It was like $9 or something like that, but that paid for like half of my set. So thank you guys for using my link. I have, if you want to support this podcast and you want to do it for free, there's an Amazon link down below, which is our affiliate link. You use that to buy anything you need on Amazon ever. And Amazon pays like a couple percent. I don't know what it is, like 2% or something like that. It's out of Jeff Bezos's pocket, which makes me really happy because he doesn't need all that money. So yeah, there's that. I also, this morning, I woke up 5 o'clock today on a Saturday. I go to bed early, wake up early. It's the life that we're in right now. And I saw that the Lego City passenger train was 20% off on Amazon. And I was like, should I? And as I was looking at it, there were 6 available. Then it went to 5, and I'm like, okay, I should. So I ended up buying that for 20% off. I'm going to surprise Clark with that. If you guys didn't know, Clarkman is a huge fan of trains, and he loved this train at Philly Brickfest 2019. Lego Freak had it, and Clark was like thrilled by this thing. So that'll be a fun thing to get into and to put some track together and increase our track supply. Oh, I'm excited. So that's going to be coming here this week. I'll do a haul video. I have another haul video to share with you guys too of my, I guess my March haul to get the Amelia Earhart promo, which I probably should have found like some time to do that yesterday because haul videos are pretty quick. I just feel bad leaving you guys in the lurch without videos to watch, but you know, it's just, I guess, comes down to priorities and like spending time on all these other things, which again, 2 weeks from now, we've got 2 more weeks of school. After that 2 weeks is up, you eliminate a 25-minute daily vlog from my filming and editing and uploading routine. Think about how much that frees me up in the Lego space to do this kind of stuff. I love to do more commentary. I've actually been pondering, and I'm really thinking about doing this. I'd like to do a 1 time a week live stream on this channel of breaking it down where I just sit and answer your questions and we chat about whatever. Maybe like on a Wednesday night or something like that. I've considered that. I'm thinking about maybe doing a trial this week to see how it goes. Could talk about anything. You want to ask me my favorite set, whatever. I'm all no holds barred. We can talk about Lego, non-Lego, whatever. I'm pretty much shutting down brickitect Live, at least for now. I don't see myself uploading there at all. I don't do any public streams anymore in the Lego space. I just do them on Patreon. That's where I really love the engagement and the interaction and the conversation there. That's what really drives it for me, and that's where I want to be streaming. So brickitect Live's pretty much, I think that's going to become a dead channel. In fact, I might just do a video on it that's like, if you found this channel and you like the content that you see here, join us on Patreon. For $5 a month, you can have access to all 100 and 200 live streams that we've already done and the 2 or 3 that we do every single week. In fact, this week I did a Patreon stream on a Ninjago set that we built that you have yet to see. So you get some behind the scenes stuff there, and I'm going to be sharing a lot more there going forward because I feel comfortable there. You know, sometimes when you put yourself out to the actual public, as I mentioned earlier, people tend to judge you, you know, positively and negatively. People judge. And there's nothing wrong with that, you know, and you see that a lot. Like if you go to a video that maybe an attractive girl made, you see a lot of that in the comments from guys. You don't see that when guys make videos though, but you see judgment. If you have any kind of defect about you, your ears are too big, your eyes are too small, your nose is crooked, whatever, people comment about that. And it's like, you know, is that really necessary? And that's why sometimes in Greg's world, being that we share so much of our personal life there, I'm actually thankful that there's no comments on it because I don't need that. All it takes, like you can have all these really nice comments that come in that really boost you. All it takes is that one negative one. And I've talked about this before. And if you're a creator, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You could read through all these positive comments and they start to, you know, they boost you, but then it's just that one negative. And that's the one that like hits you in your soul. And that's the one that sticks with you. And initially you want to like fire back at that person. Be like, you know what? You suck. The jerk store called and they're running out of you. Something like that. But most times it's best not to reply. But it really does get you regardless. And to not give people that power to judge you, at least publicly. Because everyone with a keyboard or the ability to type on their phone feels the need to share their judgment or opinion, even if it wasn't asked for. Especially if you make a mistake or do something wrong or anything like that, it makes people feel good about themselves to bring other people down. And we see that everywhere. And it's sad because we should all be trying to boost each other. We're all in this world together, right? And we're all in this life together, at least at the current moment. Why not try to empower each other? We're much stronger together than we are apart. But we seem to be apart more often than not, and that makes me sad. I don't know if there's anything we can do about it. Surely not me talking about it on a podcast is going to solve it. But, you know, it's hope for the future. Speaking of hope for the future, we've got some listener feedback here. And first of all, I need to thank the hero from last week's episode. I had a couple phrases that I could not figure out what the actual phrase was. And trainer Lucarian says, the phrases you're looking for are, you have too many irons in the fire, which as soon as I saw that, I was like, that's what I was trying to say. I was like, too many hands in the fire, too many irons in the fire. And the other one is, and this is what I was just talking about actually, a rising tide lifts all boats, right? Let's all be in our boats and let's rise the tide and up together. We don't need to be shooting cannons at each other's boats. We don't need to sink that guy. Sinking that guy doesn't make us better off, you know? So we probably should get off the boat references. I feel like I'm outside of I feel like my head's underwater with those. Should I start this over again? Next message here comes from Deb. Really positive comment here. She says, wow, you hit the nail on the head. That's exactly how I found Missing Pieces. The Lego brought me in. I watch Missing Pieces, and now it's a Sunday tradition. I build and listen. There you go. Build and listen. I tear up along with you. And as long as you read the amazing comments, I'm about the same age as you and get a bit of how you feel and where you're at. This is a great reflection time for me. Keep being yourself and making people's day. Deb, first of all, I wasn't crying. My eyes were sweating. Just kidding. Sometimes I do get emotional on these episodes, and it's only because this comes from my heart. What I do here means a lot to me. It's happening right now. Stop it, Greg. It means a lot to me, and I put my heart into this, and it makes me happy to know that there's people that get something from this. So I love that. I try not to share messages that are like that just boost me, but I do love the fact that she said that she just found us through the Lego, but now she sticks around. I love that Missing Pieces is a part of your Sunday tradition and now uploaded at like a regular time, which is even better. It makes it easy to have a tradition when you can rely on something. And hopefully we don't have glitchy audio. I cringe right now thinking about that, but we'll hope for the best here. Next message comes from Apprentice Builds. It says, I personally enjoy hearing about the tech / everything that goes into making your videos, including camera, audio, etc. It's extremely interesting to me. This comes from something I talked about where oftentimes I feel like the things that I discuss in my vlogs or here, I'm probably the only person in the world that has any interest in, and I become like self-aware or I become aware of this and I'm like, wow, I've been talking about this camera that I really love for the last 4 minutes in a video, and there's probably not many people that are really with me on this. But then there's like that one person, like Apprentice Builds, it's like, Greg, I'd love to hear more about that. Maybe I just need to find my people, but it's hard when you're all over the place. Like if you had a tech channel, talk away about your camera. Like people love that, or your new phone or whatever. When you have a vlogging channel where sometimes you're like playing at the park and sometimes you're having fast food, no more, or sometimes you're buying a gaming PC or whatever, it's hard to know what people want. But I can only assume that many people are like Deb, where they're just like, hey man, I'm here for whatever you got to share, whatever you want to. Greg, if you want to talk about how much you love the camera on an iPhone for the next 10 minutes, I'm with you on that, my man. Go ahead. I'm just building a Lego set sitting here, so I appreciate that. It makes me feel good to know that this is my safe place a little bit. I know the judgment is out there, but I haven't seen a whole lot of that here. I feel like most of the people that are with us in the long haul here, I feel like it's the people that I seek in this world. I've said before, when you put positivity out there, positivity comes back. And that's what I strive for. You put negativity out there, you do like a lot of that drama stuff, you get into that end of things, you get those people. And those are people you don't want, at least in my opinion. Next one we have, this is actually a follow-up. I thought this is perfect. Bob's Builds says, hey Greg, I saw you using the Canon M50 and was wondering how you record more than 30 minutes, because for me there's a limit of 30 minutes. Yes, which is the reason that I can't use that for this podcast. I would just set that bad boy up here and let it record, but there's a 30-minute time limit because of, I think it's something from Europe where there is a tax on things that are considered camcorders. So they put a limit of 29 minutes and 59 seconds on these things, so they're not considered that. I think that's becoming a thing of the past now, but nonetheless, the Canon M50, which is my lovely vlogging camera that I use every single day for my Greg's World vlogs, there is a limit of that. There's no getting around that. You can't do anything to fix it. So in my case, I've used this in the past for recording these episodes, and what I have to do is constantly be aware of how long I've been talking for and then do like a reset. And it's distracting and problematic, and I wish it wasn't a thing, but it's a thing. So there's no fixing it as far as I know. If you do get a newer camera, I think it's not common anymore. I think because so many companies were skirting the system, they just realized that this is pointless. Like, okay, if it records for more than 30 minutes, it's a camcorder. Okay, all of our cameras record for 29:59. It's just arbitrary and it's silly. So, such is government, though. That's what happens. Next, thank you for the messages, though, guys. I appreciate that. Next one comes from Georgia, our newest Patreon detector, from last week. She says, thanks for the shout out, Greg. I'm so glad that I made the decision to join your Patreon. The community that I've met with just a few days of being subscribed has been so kind and welcoming. I'm telling you. I look forward to seeing all the content you put out, from gaming streams to Lego content to Greg's World, Missing Pieces podcast. I think when people are passionate and excited about something, the content they make is entertaining because you can see how much they love and enjoy it. Your content is great because of the joy you get from what you are doing. Keep doing what you love and keep being you. I didn't put this in here to boost me. I put this in here because she said something that I agree with 100%. I think that when people are passionate and excited about something, the content they make is entertaining because you can see how much they love and enjoy it. I love finding YouTube creators that fall into that space. When you can watch something that you don't have maybe a ton of interest in, maybe he's talking about camcorders and recording for 30 minutes. But if you can tell that there's a passion for that or an interest in that, it's very easy to get drawn into that and want to be a part of it. I think about the Lego channels that I've watched before where it's like a set I'm not really interested in, but I see them like really like talk about how amazing it is and why they love it. And I'm like, you know what? I love it too now. And I guess being a good salesman, that's a big part of it. I think I could be a good salesman if I wanted to be, because especially if it was something I believed in. I'd have to believe in it, but if I believed in it and there was some benefit to it, I think I could sell it pretty well. I think I could be in that world because I can share excitement pretty well for things. If I love something, I can surely let you know that. It's tough though when, like, that's why you can't be fake. If you're trying to sell something that sucks, like for my example, in my old life, I used to do personal loans for people, mortgages, things like that. I didn't believe in debt. I hated debt. I was myself. I was personally trying to get out of debt as quickly as I could, and to put these people into debt when they think I'm helping them, which I was, and I was doing a good job selling them that. And when they left there, they were very happy about it. I didn't necessarily believe in that, and I wonder what that world would have been like had I been on the other end of it, where I was helping people get out of debt or being like a debt counselor or something like that, I think I could have soared at that job because I would have been so hardcore about it. But nonetheless, like if you find something like, say you're a shoe salesman or whatever, and you're not really into shoes that much, you could still be a good salesman and push things. And if you can explain why this shoe's good for someone or this person or what your activity level is or whatever, you can be good at anything. I'm just saying when those two things collide, when you're a person that's like selling something, which, if you're making a YouTube video, you're selling that, I suppose. You're selling yourself, you're selling your content. If you can combine passion with that, those two things combined, Captain Planet. It's a miraculous place you can be in. So my channel, I try to drive this off of my passion. I don't do anything that I don't want to do here. Like I don't particularly like doing reviews. I don't do reviews, but I sit down and I share like Clark and I building a set and why I love it and maybe why I don't like it or like things we enjoyed about it. And if that comes through in the video, that's great. But if it's not something we like, I'll be just as honest with you guys. Like it's what it comes down to. But I appreciate that comment. And yeah, maybe you can tell me if there's a channel that you watch that the guy or girl is just like so into it. Maybe a topic that you weren't into before, but they love what they do, and you've been drawn into that world because of it. Because I'm always looking for stuff like that. I love channels, especially in the Lego space. If you find somebody that isn't just an informer, but like all in like this, I'm in. I'm down. So let me know if you know anyone, because I have my finger on the subscribe button here, and I love to find new people whenever I can. Last but not least here, we've got a win of the week. And this comes from Sunshine on a Rainy Brick. Love the name. I love it when she comes around. She says, "Thanks for another great episode, Greg. No worries about the audio at the end." Oh, there were a lot of worries about the audio at the end, as you can probably tell. And again, right now, I have this thing in my mind where it's like doing it right now, and I'm gonna cry a few tears probably because I love these episodes. But what can you do, right? Other than have your secondary recording. She says, "I think I'm on the upward journey, coming out of a rather large slump, and so for the first time I wanted to share my wins of the week." Hey, I think we're all there. We're coming out, baby. It says, "I got caught up with all the episodes of Missing Pieces, got back on the Discord, and I've really enjoyed chatting there. I did a build with my daughter, even got back into sorting through a large mixed Lego haul. All these wins have been really great and helped me motivate me more for perhaps my biggest win of the week, and that's getting out the Wii again and having fun, getting exercise, and getting my hubby and daughter to join in. And we've all been having great family time with it." I love that. So many wins in one. Like, sometimes that's all it takes. Action. Action will get you out of a slump. Maybe making a little change in your life. Whether it be, getting back into a community that you were in, or getting into a bin of Lego and you're like, hey, I'm making progress. Making progress feels good. Just like you're talking about here, getting back into exercise. Maybe that's what we all need. We all just need to like get up and move around a little bit, change some bad habits we had, put some good habits in their place, and like just see how it goes. Oh no, something's happening in my computer. Oh God, it's doing some type of update. Better it's okay, it's just telling me my computer is up to date. You stop coming up there and scaring the bejesus out of me, especially this late in the game. I'm going to send you guys out with a little bit more of encouragement, not only for you, but for myself. Let's make some progress this week. I'm going to report back to you 1 week from today and tell you the things that I've done to make my life better. Whether it is getting organized, whether it's making some moves here, whether it's doing a series I've been wanting to do, whether it's actually putting in the time to be able to make a video every day for you guys here on this channel, whether it's telling you how much weight I lost this week by watching myself and being careful. I'm going to report back to you, and if I hold myself accountable to you, you guys can hold yourself accountable to me, and we'll go back and forth with this, and we'll see what we can accomplish, because I think we can do big things, whether it's just a little bit this week, but then we got next week, and we got next week, and on Missing Pieces episode 200, we're all going to look back at this time when we all started, and we're going to be like, man, we've come a long way together, and I'm excited to do that with you. So before I get emotional here, I want to wish you guys a wonderful week this week. I hope you make the best of it. If you want to support this podcast, there's a number of ways you can do that. My biggest thing, just leave me some feedback for next week. Give me that courage and empowerment Saturday morning that I need. Leave me something that I can talk about, whether you need some advice on something, whether you wanted to talk about Lego, you want to talk about something outside of Lego. I love talking about things that aren't typically in my mind, so I would love that. You can answer any of the questions that maybe I pose to you. I just want to hear from you guys. I know you're out there. I want to hear from you. If you want to listen to these episodes outside of YouTube, you can do that on podcast format. You can do it on Apple Podcasts. You can do it on Spotify. If you just want to listen while you're doing something else. You can, if you want to be a part of our community that we have, which I'm pretty darn proud of the people that are there, you can do that through Patreon. It's $5 a month at the lowest tier. If you just want to come in and hang out and be a part of the streams, you can go higher than that if you want to. But you know, I'd love to have you if you want to join. I love that place over there, and there's gonna be a lot of stuff happening there in the coming months that I'm excited about. So. I guess on that's enough of me selling myself and trying to sell you guys on making your lives better. The next step is just deciding what you want to do. Do you want to do it? Because that's all it comes down to. Do you want to? And I hope the answer is yes. So on that, guys, thank you so much for watching and listening, and we'll find you in the next Missing Pieces.